Hey everyone, this is story number 39 coming at you. Turns out I'm recording this episode on March 18th, 2025, and you won't hear it until April 5th, 2025, which just so happens to be a month away from my birthday. My name is Phil, and you're listening to The Lib, episode 202. Every single time I hear that, the number seems to get higher and higher. I'm in awe, personally. I really am. Now, I know that most of you were looking forward to a show on March 29th, 2025, but I kind of played a little April Fool's trick on you, but I like to do that. That's just what I do during this time of year. No show on March 29th, and, well, fact or fiction, as I like to do on April Fool's, on actual April Fool's Day, which this year was on a Tuesday. I believe so. Yep, it was Tuesday. So, not a Saturday show, but it is a Tuesday show, but a show nonetheless. This one is going to be the second show in April, and it's going right back to business as usual. Saturday morning release. I tell you, story episodes are fun, and here comes one that's going to have some pretty good stories in it. But I will tell you this right now. If you haven't listened to the 200th episode, the episode in which I have a nice conversation with the artist, Yolanda Houston. It's a great show. Maybe one of the better ones that I've done in all this time. It's really that good. Take the time, if you haven't already, listen to that one. It's a good one. It really is. Um, this will be a fun episode. I think it will. I keep talking to myself about something that I got to write down for an episode in the future. So I probably ought to get around to doing that as soon as this episode's over, so that I don't lose my train of thought. Because you don't want to do that. That's how golden material slips through your fingers. So I gotta write that down as soon as this episode is over. That way I know I got it. But as far as this episode goes, there's already plenty of good stuff going on, and we're gonna start that by filling in the blank right here, right now. The question for fill in the blanks this day would happen to be, do I enjoy not having a show on Saturdays at least once a year? And the answer is absolutely. I do. I love it because it's an April Fool's episode. Try to trick people up a little bit. So it's only fitting that April 1st doesn't show up on Saturday. That way I can sort of lead people on a little bit, let them know, oh, it's going to be here. Then all of a sudden I put out a video saying, oh, April Fools, check this show out on actual April 1st. I'm excited every single time I have to do it. So, once again, the question that needs a blank to be filled in is, am I upset that once a year I have a show that doesn't show up on a Saturday? And the answer is absolutely not. I wouldn't have it any other way. It makes it so much more interesting when it happens to be a different day other than Saturday. When April 1st falls on one of those other days, it just makes it easy. Really does. But now we're going to get to the business at hand. Story number 39 coming at you as of right now. I'm going to ring the bell and start the main event. Okay, taking a look here, and the first story that I got for you is another KFC story. Now, people would wonder, had wet the whistle there for a minute, why do I go to these places constantly when there's all these nightmarish things that seem to happen every single time I go? Because, well, these people feed me these stories. I don't have to work at it. All I have to do is show up in these places and stuff just happens. So I can't possibly not go to places like KFC and Walmart and stuff like that because it turns out that when I walk through the doors of these places, stuff just happens. And I got to take advantage of that because it just makes my life a whole lot easier. I don't have to keep trying to literally get a shovel into my brain and try to find something that happened to me 25 years ago that I can barely remember. Well, there is a show that's coming up that's probably going to be about stuff that I did 20 years ago, but I remember it pretty much as accurately as the clock that I'm staring at right now. But that's a different story. We'll get to that at the end of the month and the beginning of May. But as for now, a KFC story again. But this time, I kind of win this time. And I'm okay with winning, especially when I've lost so many times in some of these places, particularly KFC. A nightmare story from last time when I got rear-ended in the rental car. Remember that one? But this is definitely a little bit of a come up. I go to KFC and I'm getting dinner for everybody. Now, as I'm going in there, I'm trying to figure out what's the best course of action. Most of the people like bone in. I personally prefer no bones. I like the chicken nuggets and the chicken tenders. So I got myself a chicken tender meal. And for everybody else, I got a nice 16-piece meal. So everybody got a nice little variety of different chicken that they wanted. And we're talking, I got the big meal. I had decided to go in there. It came up with a couple sides that everybody likes. It was three sides for this meal. Now, my personal sides for my 5-piece tender meal, I just wanted the fries. And that's what I took. I love KFC fries. They were an honorable mention on the episode that I did for Mount Rushmore things. Honorable mention for French fries. Definitely KFC, the 11 herbs and spices. So I got my fries. I got my Sweet Lightning Mountain Dew. Love that stuff. And my 5 tenders. But now, for everybody else, I got, like I said, the 16-piece chicken meal. And the sides that I chose because I know that they also like the fries, so I got the fries. And I got even more potatoes, imagine that. I got some mashed potatoes and gravy. And I also got, what was the other thing I got? Mac and cheese. And there was even one more side. Yeah, there was, because it was with coleslaw, because I don't know how much coleslaw, so I got that. And so I'm waiting, and I'm waiting for a little while inside the KFC because they had just finished making some pot pies, and it took a couple people to get them out because they were being real careful and cautious to make sure they didn't drop them because apparently it takes a little while to make those pot pies, and they had only made like 6 of them, so they had to be really on point to make sure they didn't lose any of them because it took so long for them to cook. I get that. You want to make something that is fairly popular and people won't stand for waiting if they have to wait for those things if it takes a little while to cook. But apparently, they're also waiting for chicken as well. And I ordered 16 pieces, and apparently, there was two Door Dashers who were actually in line before, or I guess they just placed their order and they were expecting it. And they ordered a couple of, well, whoever they were working for ordered a couple of big meals as well. One was at least 12 pieces, and I think because the other one had to be the the spicy chicken, and there wasn't any of that up. So we're all kind of waiting there, and then two other customers came in and they ordered more chicken and some fries even too. So a lot of this is taking up a lot of space and a lot of time. And now there's about one looking around the room in my head right now. There was the two Door Dashers, two other customers that walked in, and then there was another one. So like six different orders that they were waiting for on the inside. Not to mention at least two or three of the drive-through. So they had some people that they had to wait on, and they took their time to make sure that they got their order right. Unfortunately, you can't see me, but I am using air quotes right now. They made sure they got all the orders right. After they finished putting the pot pies away, they started getting the DoorDash orders because those ones were apparently supposed to be ready at that point in time. And so they collect the DoorDasher stuff, they scan their things, and the first one leaves. Just before the second one's about to get their order, a new customer comes in and they take that customer's order. So the DoorDasher waits another couple of minutes while they're taking this other customer's order. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting back, probably could have read half of War and Peace, waiting for my order to get done because apparently they didn't think the chicken that they already had was good enough, so they wanted to get some more. Pluck all the feathers off it and wash it down and season it up and bread it and pressure wash and then pressure cook it and get it ready for me personally. And as I'm finally waiting, they decide to call for me to go get my food. So I move up, I step up to the register and I grab the stuff. I had one of the kids with me. It's been so long that we waited. Probably in the store, realistically, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. This is clearly not the definition of fast food in any way. If that were the case, it would be like Usain Bolt running the 100-meter race in about 45 minutes. It was not fast. But everything was hot and it smelled great. So we're winning. Got the bucket that had the chicken, got a bag that had one, two, three, four sides in it. And then we got my whole meal, which was in a bag all to itself, the chicken tenders and the fries that I got, and my sweet Lightning Mountain Dew. And it turns out that the kid grabbed everything he was supposed to grab, and they told us to come back because we didn't have our fries. And so they handed the fries to my kid, puts the fries inside of the bag that had all the other sides in it, and we're down the road. As we're down the road, we're talking about how long it took to get in the house, and now it's time to spread out the food and begin this feast. Pull out the big thing of chicken, the bucket of chicken, look through that. I got my stuff. I know what my stuff is, so I move it to the side. Now the bucket of chicken is there, and look at it, and I'm like, I think they did us a solid here. Yeah, indeed they did. I'm starting to count the chicken, and it looks like there's a good 17 pieces inside there. I'm like, all right, suck me an extra piece. That's cool. That's so cool. And then we go and we start separating the other sides, moving through it, and there's the mashed potatoes and gravy. That's cool. The whole bunch of biscuits. Everybody likes those apparently, and that was great. Mac and cheese was there. We're ready to go. Now to get the fries for the kids. I don't see any other fries because there's one more box, but something ain't right. So I go to open up that box that should have contained the large container of fries. Instead, it was four more pieces of chicken. So we ended up getting not 16 pieces of chicken, but 21 pieces of chicken. So we were up there on that one, 21 pieces of chicken. And I'm like, hey, all right, we win on chicken, but we don't have the fries. Everybody looked around and said, no, who cares? They all just grabbed an extra piece of chicken and they moved on throughout their lives, right? And then I go and I start to look through my stuff and I realize that my 5-piece chicken nut tender meal, as I'm eating, I'm like, wait, this is not five. I start counting them and all of a sudden, like, I ate two and there's still 7 left in here. I'm like, whoa! They gave me 9. So I get 9. Cool. 9 chicken tenders, 21 pieces of chicken. We're winning. And I'm not going to complain about it at all because there have been more than enough times when I've been to KFC or other places where not only have I not gotten what I wanted, I didn't get the amount I was supposed to get. And usually when that happens, I'm just far enough away that it doesn't make any sense to go back. So the fact that I got an extra 4 chicken tenders and an extra 4 pieces of chicken, and I'm winning and I'm going to enjoy it. Now, unfortunately, my kid told me, I did see a box of fries up there, but the dude told me to specifically take this one. I'm like, okay. So somebody ordered a 4-piece of chicken, and if they were just as much hurry to get home like we were because we were waiting there 20 minutes to half an hour, they probably just grabbed it and walked out the door. Didn't think twice about it. So, in my mind, all I can envision is somebody just hungry, just hungry, ordered themselves a 4-piece KFC chicken meal, and they're about to go devour this. And then they open it up, and it's a big box full of French fries. The disappointment that that person would have at that moment would probably amount to them turning into the Red Hulk. And I would totally understand it. Because, well, the worst, you have that chicken in your mouth and you're ready to go eat that stuff and you're ready for it. Next thing you know, you get a whole box full of fries. That is just not cool on any level. And the worst part about it is the the KFC employee specifically told my kid to grab that box that had the chicken in it, not the one with the fries. So I was like, man, it's not even like they couldn't fit all 16 pieces of chicken that we already had. They gave us an extra 4 that they shouldn't have done. And they gave some other dude a box of fries, man. That's a hurt piece. That is such a hurt piece. I can't imagine the nightmare. Well, I can because I've had plenty of times when I had such horrible situations occur, and all you can do is just sort of laugh it off, and really you can't laugh because you're hungry and you're angry. That's when hangry comes into place, boy, and you don't want that person to go back to the store. Not at all. Not at all. This story is actually kind of fun, the one that's coming up, because I really could have avoided all of this by just taking my time. But because I didn't take my time and I didn't do the things that I normally do, a very simple procedure became difficult. And I have no one to blame but myself for this one. Yeah, I won at KFC, but I definitely lost here. But it could have been so much worse. You see, I go and I pick the kids up from school, as I do all the time. And on the way home, I had to go get some medicine for myself. So what I do is I go and I pull right up and I get in the CVS line, the drive-through, and it's a particularly long line this time. Now, usually, like I said, I live right across the street from my CVS, so it's not usually a big deal. But this time, I just was in the car and I knew I had to go back to the store anyway. But I wanted to drop the kids off, so I'm waiting in line. There's like four cars in line. They go through one after another. Seems like this day they decided to take their sweet time uh, handing out the medicine. But I finally get to the front of the line, pull out my card, pop in the little thing, give my information. They slide out my pills. Now, normally they do the greatest thing in the world, and that is they put my card inside the inside the back of my medicine, and I'm all good with it. It's great. It's not a big deal. I'm happy. I got my card. It's in there. Everything's nice and neat. And so what I do is I go and I drop the kids off. I then hop back in the car, head down to shop, just listening to a podcast because that's what I do. The kids are with my mom, getting themselves ready from being at school, taking their shower, getting ready to start their homework. Now, I go and I have to do, like I said, it's not a major grocery run, but I'm going to say it's a fairly hefty one. It's probably enough that it took me a good 45 minutes to get everything I was looking for. And so I do so. And I'm at the register and I'm like, oh man, they're ringing up my stuff already. And I remember that I forgot the waffles, the frozen waffles. And so I asked the cashier, it's like, I told him, man, I can't believe I forgot these waffles. And the cashier was cool. And she said, oh, don't worry about it. Just go get them. It won't take too long. And so I went and I grabbed these frozen waffles. And I was like, all right, cool. She was still ringing up stuff as I came back. I had enough stuff that she had to ring up that much. And it took me just a second to go get the waffles. It wasn't that far. And with my beat up butt these days, it seems like I'm trekking through the Sahara Desert just to literally pick up something that's on an end cap. But I made it back, and there was maybe four more things that she had to ring up. I go and I put my card up there, the discount card, scans that. All is right with the world. I then proceed to hear the amount for the food. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I go to reach into my wallet and get my debit card out to pay. And then everything sort of went to a pause. The whole world stopped. for like 3 seconds, and the entire planet stopped rotating because I remembered that I never took my card out of the CVS bag that I got my medicine in. Now, 100 times out of 100, I'm ripping open the bag, taking my pills out, leaving the paper bag that they give me from the CVS in the car for about a day. And I take out my pills and I take out my card. I put my card in my pocket and pills in my pocket. And I move about going back to the house. But this day, when I was dropping the kids off, I decided to just put the whole bag in the car, run across the street, get to the house, drop off the kids, take the whole bag, put it on the couch, and proceed to run out the door. Didn't open the bag, didn't think about the bag. And the 45 minutes it took me to do my shopping at ShopRite, I was completely oblivious to the fact that I had left my card at home. Now the slow motion stops and I'm back to reality. At this point, I'm looking at the cashier and I'm like, I can't believe this, but I forgot my card at home. I'll be right back. Cashier's like, all right, we'll pause it and we'll push it to the side. Thank God I don't live that far away. But I live far enough away. Jumped in the car, hit every light before I got to the house. So the usual 10-minute trip took me 15. And as I'm running for dear life to get to the house, I'm calling and I'm asking one of the kids to bring out my car. One runs out, hand me the card. I pretty much am like a NASCAR pit spot, and they're the crew. I'm pulling up, they're pulling off the tires, putting new tires on. They've already hooked up the gas, filled it up, throw the thing off to the side, and I'm down the road again. It was literally just like that. Instead, I pull up, I open window, kid hands card, I take card, I roll window, kid goes in house, I go down the road. And this time, I got every green light just in time to pull through, get back into the shop, right? Run into the store, essentially slide like Ricky Henderson, God rest his soul, stealing second base. And I'm like, I'm back. And the lady's like, ooh, that worked out just fine. We almost put your stuff back. And I was just like, wow, you gave me like 20 minutes. And they almost put my stuff back. But I understand it because I bought a lot of frozen stuff. So there's no point in thinking that the person who just left the line is going to come back. I mean, heck, could be somebody who literally didn't have any money. I'm not going to just sit there and pretend that they do and let this product go to waste because some fool did or did not have a card. That's pretty much what the cashier was thinking. If Luther, the anger translator, was there, that's exactly what he would have said. And so I end up going where they had my order set up and ready to cash out, which was over at the self checkout area, away from the regular registers. And so I go up, I scan the card, everything's perfect. I now throw everything into the cart, into the car, and back to the house. I still can't understand how I completely fumbled on that one because, boy, it took me 2 trips. And it's not because I had so much food that I had to go back and get more. No, it's because I simply left my payment option in the house. Unbelievable. That was the first time I ever did that. And barring any other weird scenarios, that'll be the last time I ever do that. Whew. Well, here comes the final story of the show here, and I'm going to start this story off by saying Wawa people, not Wawa people, Walmart people are real. They're a real phenomenon. They do exist. And the strange people that you see at Walmart on those YouTube videos or Facebook reels, they're real. They're out there. They exist. Unlike the aliens, well, maybe. These definitely 100% strange people exist in Walmart. Let's see how this thing works. Um, Here we are at Walmart. Me and my mom just picking up some stuff. Again, it's like, why do I go to these places? Like I said earlier, because it turns out that it's just podcasting gold for me to give me things to talk about. It gives me things to talk about. Uh, it really does. But this time, I used what was a superpower that I had gained and developed from working at Wawa, which is the ability to tell when a a cashier is fast. I've probably mentioned this a bunch of times. Scan rate, how quickly the cashier can take an item and scan it across and move to the next one. And usually people see me standing at the area where the registers are for a good second because I know that if I was to go to a self checkout, if I had enough stuff, I would just blow right through it because of my experience in managing a while. I pretty quick at scanning that stuff. I get in there. But if the cashier is fast and is doing their thing, there's a good chance that that cashier is at least my equivalent, if not better. Not Sarah Good. Not Sarah Good. The cashier that I had when I was working at Wawa. I've never seen anybody ever scan items as quickly as her or get people out of the store as fast as her. Ever. Ever. She's one in a million. You'll never see somebody like that. And it's very unfortunate that most of you will never experience a cashier that amazing. Man, if I could have Sarah Buck do every single, uh, ring up every single item that I've ever had in any single store, just sort of carry her with me and say, hey, we're ready to go. Okay. I'd be out so quickly. But that's not a case. She has a life and she's going to live it. um, but I scan the cashiers to see if there's one who's relatively quick. And when you're doing this, now I'm going to give you the heads up if you're not really thinking about it and how it works. Sometimes a cashier may have a long line, but they're so quick at scanning items that they can move that line down really quickly. Like when I was working at Wawa, now adjusting the story, um, my cashier, Sarah, actually was so fast that she was, without a doubt, the exception, not the rule. They had a saying at the time when I worked there: if there are three or more customers at the core, which is the register area, you had to have somebody else up there to help so that people could get out, because the idea was a convenience store, right? Makes sense. Three or more go to the core. Now, with most other cashiers that I would have, I would fudge it and let it go to maybe five. And then I'd go up there and then we would knock it out. Sarah, I allowed her to have 10 in line. I'd give her 10 because at 10, by the time I noticed there was 10 people in her line, I would then walk up to the register and then it would be down to 7. And then I would take 2, which would then give her 5. But by the time I was done with those 2, she would have rung up 2 more and she'd be right back to 3. Like, so quite literally, for me to do 2 people, she would have been able to do 8. She was that fast. And I'm not talking about people just hitting one cup of coffee and go. There was a couple of those, but there was also people who had handfuls of items, and she still blew it out. She was easily, what's the ratio? Something like, she could easily ring up 8 customers before I could ring up 2. So 4 to 1. Yeah, she could easily be 4 to 1. And I knew that, and most people knew that, and I appreciated it to the point where it was an amazing thing. But now back to the story at hand. I actually gave you bonus content. How about that? Bonus content. After reviewing the cashiers, I found one that was fastest. And the one that I was at had actually more customers than the second one that I saw that was moving at what was a snail's pace. And the reason for that wasn't necessarily the cashier, it was a combination of the cashier and the slow customer. If you have both, it's going to definitely be a negative situation. Now, the cash register were set up so that the 2 lines were split, one to the left and one to the right. I was and my mother were on the right. No, we were on the left. We're on the left side. And the slow cashier and the 2 customers that she had were on the right. And the cashier that was on the left that we were at blew through 3 customers before that one person had finished the first one. And now it is our turn. And cashier just blew through our order and we're ready to go. Now, the problem was over on the right side, there's this gentleman, we'll call him a gentleman, and he was standing in line, and I don't understand what was going through his head, but clearly there wasn't a whole lot upstairs. There couldn't have been, because logically, it just negates sense what he did. I mean, it made no sense. I'm starting to wonder if maybe he got possessed by a demon, or perhaps he had some sort of hidden medical emergency that happened to him just at that time, because there's no other explanation for what he did, except for maybe he just instantly turned into a Walmart person then and there, and there was nothing that could be done about it except for what I did. Because now we're on our way out, and we just finished, and this guy, he looks from the right register where he's at over to us on the left, and there's just a narrow little space between the two that you can walk through. And for some reason, this guy who's in the right side register, who's behind somebody, decides to take like a giant step to the left while looking at us. So he's looking at us on in line on the right side, and he literally just steps in front of us as we're trying to leave. And he's like in the way. And he's looking at us in the way. There's nobody behind him, and he's next in line. And he's actually even put his stuff on the conveyor belt. But for some reason, he decides to take this left step and get in our way. I don't understand why he did this. It just it didn't make any logical sense for why he decided to get in our way. It made no sense. He was getting run up. He was not trying to get behind us because we were finished. So there's literally no reason on earth for this guy to have stepped over to the left. There's none at all. And so as he's doing this, I'm looking right at him. Like, are you serious? You're really doing this? And the look on his face, he might as well have just started drooling. But he didn't. He just seemed like he was in the market for a cup for drool, but he didn't drool. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I just said, get out of the way. And then he looked at me and he was like, and he stepped back to the right. Like he intentionally decided to step to the left. And then when I addressed him, he then moved to the right. And I couldn't believe it to the point where it's like, I can't understand it. It felt like I was talking to an inmate during chow hall line and they're getting out of line. No, stay on your side. Get on the right. Stay on the right. And sure enough, as I walk by, I'm thinking out loud, and I just say, I can't believe this guy's so stupid. And I just kept going. Like, I meant to think it, but I didn't. I just said it, and I didn't care. And I just kept going. Because this dude just, for some reason, he had a moment. And there's no way that I could possibly explain his moment at all. Except I just needed to make sure that he knew that I didn't care at that moment. I was just wanting to get out of the store and go. And he got stuck on stupid somehow. And I wanted to just, I wanted to smack him in the back of the head to maybe reset the button so that just maybe he'll get off of stupid and go back to normal thinking. Because I don't know, it's like one of those records that when it starts skipping, so he just needs to go like smack in the back of the head, and all of a sudden he'll be back to normal, and things will work the way they're supposed to. And that's all I could think of. It just, I to me, I can't understand what was going on. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. But that's a Walmart person for you. It really, really is. There wasn't much I could do about it, much I could say about it, except for that. I mean, just like, what is going on? And hopefully I never see him again. If I do, I'll have to ask him. It's like, are you feeling okay this time? Did you take all the precautions to really think about all your actions? And the answer would probably be, I don't know. Oh man, these people. I just don't understand. I never will, and I don't know why I bother trying because it's just. I don't know. I just don't know. Well, on that note, I'm going to ring the bell and end the main event and go directly into the spear of the week, which is pretty obvious. It's the guy who decided to step to the left with me and my mother trying to leave a Walmart. Like, what was that about? What was that about? And like I said, the thing that impressed me the most, and that's the only word I can use because I can't think of another word other than the thing that he did that impressed me the most was the fact that he looked right at me when he did it. Like, what? What is wrong with you? And I mean, he looked directly at me, and then he made the conscious choice to step to the left to get directly in our way when he was putting his stuff on the conveyor belt. Why would you do that? You don't have to move. All you have to do is stand right where you are. But for some reason, he just felt that he needed to step all the way in front of us. Like, why? I don't know. I don't know. But without a doubt, that particular Walmart person is the spear of the week. There's no doubt about it. No questions asked. He is the spear of the week. Now, it's time for the magical book of questions. And what question will I ask myself today? Yeah, looks like this is a good one. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with hmm. It's a very fun question, and it doesn't have too much that's gonna break my it's gonna break the bank here. And it's real simple. The question is, what is your kryptonite? There is literally one thing that I absolutely cannot resist, and that is a good slice of pizza. Simple as that. Now, if it was from certain places that I would consider just not good, it would not be the kryptonite. But if I found, say, a midtown slice, not midtown, better than midtown, Capone, brick oven, gourmet pizza, that's completely irresistible. I can't not have it. I can't. There's no way. You put me in front of one of those with a Dr. Pepper, it's over. It's absolutely over. So, without doubt, my kryptonite would have to be hmm good pizza, and specifically from Capone's in South Toms River, man, right by the school, South Toms River High School. It's literally the best pizza I've ever had, and I've had probably more pizza than a lot of people. And I can say with conviction that there's a pretty good chance that even with these people who are trying all this pizza that say it's so good, and I've done a couple of my No Mercy pizza reviews, I can promise you I've only done two reviews because the time that I actually did a major pizza run, it, whew, let's just put it to you this way. I'm about to do a couple of shows that are gonna really be interconnected, and one of them is gonna talk about my major pizza run. And I can promise you that when I tell you how much pizza I ate in a short period of time, it's safe to say that I probably have eaten more pizza than most people have in a very short period of time. Like to the point where I would question very much if anybody could eat that much pizza except for Joey Chestnut in such a short period of time. And I didn't pace myself early, but like I said, that's a story for another day. The kryptonite absolutely is pizza. And I'm telling you, I'm going to get around to telling you the story of that pizza run that I had. And trust and believe, it was an epic pizza run. I can promise you that you probably don't know anybody who's done what I did. And the evidence to this pizza run is lost. And it's so sad because it was one of my most prized possessions, the evidence to that pizza run. But again, that's a story for another day. And trust me, that day is coming. But as for now, I can give you a quick story about the painting that you're looking at right now. I call it Rising Flame. Why? The flames of a person's life may start small, but if you feed it, nothing will be able to put it out. Really like this one. I must admit that I did have inspiration for this from a little bit of anime. And trust me when I tell you, am I going to say it? I don't know. I'll get in trouble for saying it, so I'm not going to say it. But let's just say it has a lot to do with setting your heart ablaze. I didn't think I was going to say it, but I did. Flame Hashira! Flame Hashira! Oh man, my kid got me hooked on Demon Slayer, and I can't help it. I love Kajuru Rendoku. Love him. But that's what that painting is about. And now it's time to start wrapping up this show. Episode 202, story number 39, coming to an end right here, right now. Check me out on Instagram at Phil Henderson5102. Join us on our Facebook group. Join us. There's always room for one more. Always room for one more. I'm out there on X, and even if you pay attention, you might see me somewhere out there on TikTok. Still can't believe I'm on TikTok. But yeah, I'm on TikTok. But now, to end this show in spectacular form with the words of wisdom, this goes for, well, that guy who I saw again at Walmart. If I could have said something other than move, because I couldn't utter any other words, what I would have liked to tell him is, your personality is like an armpit with weak deodorant. It seems okay for a little while, but it will soon start to stink. I'm sorry, I like this one a lot. Let me try this again. The words of wisdom are, your personality is like an armpit with weak deodorant. It seems okay for a little while, but it will soon start to stink. Oh, man. I'm sorry, but oh man, this may be one of my very favorites. Oh, uh, let me try this one last time. Uh, this way you can actually hear the words of wisdom. This may be top five of all the words of wisdom that I've ever come up with. Uh, your personality is like an armpit with weak deodorant. It seems okay for a while. Yeah. But it'll soon start to stink. I can't even read it again. That's it. Yeah. All right. Oh man, I started to tear up. It's just if there was ever words of wisdom that need to be on a shirt, it's this. Oh man. On that note, whew, I'm gonna call it quits for the evening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you could actually cut through the laughter a little bit and actually appreciate those words of wisdom. Uh, my name is Phil, and you've just listened to The Lip. uh,